Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Indiana. My name is Justin Shaw. I'm the Chief of Police of the Indiana Borough Police Department. And I want to welcome you, and I want to introduce those standing behind me. So from my left is Indiana Borough Mayor William Simmons, Indiana Borough Lieutenant Eric Slavinsky, Indiana County Coroner Jerry Overman, Indiana County District Attorney Robert Manzi. To my right is Detective Sergeant Jeff Atherton. To his right is Detective Leroy Anderson, and on the end is Detective Andrew Perry, all with the Indiana Police Department. On Saturday, January 6, 2024, at 6:18 p.m., Indiana Borough Patrol officers responded to 28 Regency Square Drive in Indiana Borough based on the report of an unresponsive infant. 3 officers were at that address within 3 minutes and were presented with an unresponsive 9-month-old infant male who had no pulse and was not breathing. Sergeant Jeff Hogue and Patrolman First Class Zach Newell gave several cycles of infant CPR inside the residence until a transfer could be made to Citizens Ambulance Service. The combined CPR effort of the infant's father, who we are not identifying, police officers, medics, and staff at the Indiana Regional Medical Center were able to regain a pulse, and the infant was transferred to Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh. Indiana Borough detectives, being supported by and with resources from the Indiana County Coroner Jerry Overman, conducted the on-scene investigation that concluded interviews with the infant's mother, Patricia Ann Hullenbaugh, and father, the collection of physical evidence, and a reenactment of conditions that prompted the original 911 call. On January 11th, 2024, the police department was notified that the infant had passed while at Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh. From January 6th to present, Indiana Borough criminal investigators and the Office of the Indiana County District Attorney Robert Manzi have been coordinating efforts to thoroughly investigate the circumstances that prompted the original medical emergency. On January 24th, a subsequent interview was conducted with Mother Patricia Hullenbaugh at the Indiana Borough Police Department. The outcome of that interview, in addition to evidence collected during the on-scene investigation and subsequent investigative findings, prompted Ms. Hullenbaugh's physical arrest on January 31st, 2024. Patricia Ann Hullenbaugh, date of birth 5/5/2002, making her 21 years of age, from Indiana, Pennsylvania, was taken into custody at her place of employment in White Township and has been incarcerated at the Indiana County Jail. A preliminary hearing has been scheduled for February 8th at 1 p.m. at the District Court of Judge Tony Satil. District Attorney Manzi will speak to the charges. Detective Leroy Anderson, in an affidavit of probable cause filed at District Court, outlined details of his investigative effort with Patricia Hullenbaugh that included her statement that a blanket was placed over the head of her infant son until he stopped crying, and when the blanket was removed, he was not breathing. And also that she had positioned her son's body in a specific way to hide her involvement prior to anyone learning of the child's medical emergency. Before turning the podium over, I would like to personally commend the emergency response and immediate actions of Sergeant Jeff Hogue, Patrolman First Class Zachary Newell, and Patrolman Andrew Kazarek of the Indiana Police Department, and the exceptional investigative efforts of Detective Sergeant Jeff Atherton, Detective Andrew Perry, and Detective Leroy Anderson. I would also like to recognize the partnerships necessary to conduct this investigation thoroughly, professionally, and successfully. IBPD received substantial support from Citizens Ambulance Service, Indiana Regional Medical Center, Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh, Indiana County Children and Youth Services, the Pennsylvania State Police Troop A Criminal Investigations Section, Indiana County Mobile Crisis, and the offices of Indiana County District Attorney Robert Manzi and Indiana County Coroner Jerry Overman. This is a tragedy on many levels. My heartfelt sympathy is extended to the infant's family, and my thoughts will remain with every person who will be forever impacted by this event. And I'll turn this over this time to District Attorney Manzi.
Thank you, Chief Shaw, and thank you to everybody for being here today. I appreciate your time and attention to a very serious case. As you'll see here today, reading the criminal complaint through the remarks, there was a significant amount of time and effort invested in this matter. On January 6th, police and emergency services were dispatched to a call for an unresponsive infant. Members of the Indiana Borough Police, Citizens Ambulance, IRMC, Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh worked in partnership and with focus on the rescue of our young victim. Despite that, our young victim tragically succumbed to his injuries. Since that initial call, members of the Indiana Borough Police conducted a professional and thorough investigation with the goal of finding the truth. Working in partnership with my office, Coroner Jerry Overman's office, IRMC, Children's Hospital, the Pennsylvania State Police, Troop A, Indiana Barracks, the Indiana Borough Police found sufficient evidence to support the filing of charges. As you heard, that preliminary hearing is scheduled on February 8th of this year before Judge Satile. Those charges include a single count of general homicide, and a single count of general homicide encompasses all of the various counts of murder: possession of an instrument of crime, endangering the welfare of a child, and false reports to law enforcement. At the time of the preliminary hearing, the Commonwealth will be prepared to fully present the evidence necessary for those proceedings. I expect this case, like all other homicide cases, to take a significant period of time to resolve in court. During that time, we will continue collecting evidence, including interviews with potential witnesses, in addition to searches of electronic devices and elsewhere. If you have had any contact with this defendant over the past few months, or if you believe you have information related to this tragic case, I am asking you to please reach out to the Indiana Borough Police and provide them with that information. Any statements that this defendant has made or behaviors you have witnessed may be helpful as we continue our work. As with all defendants, Ms. Hollenbach is presumed innocent until proven guilty in court. Now, as you can imagine, family notification of the circumstances of this infant death was difficult, to say the least. We are fortunate to have the partners in our county we do. Members of the Alice Paul House, the Mobile Crisis Team, Children and Youth Services, the Indiana Borough Police, and my office. We're there to ensure support for the family upon notification, and we will continue to provide necessary services throughout this process. I want to spotlight the work of the Indiana Borough Police and all of the partners we have discussed this afternoon. A high level of professionalism exhibited in each and every case should provide our community with the utmost confidence in our criminal justice system. There are not words that can fully describe a situation like this. My office and all of our partners have worked diligently and will continue to work diligently towards the best outcomes supported by the facts and our current law. In the meantime, I ask that the community keep this family in their thoughts as they grieve. Also, I ask that you keep the members of our law enforcement and our partners in your thoughts. These men and women deal with terrible, terrible situations and have to process horrible crimes each and every day so that they can continue to work towards our safety and our security. And I ask that you support the members of our law enforcement in our community as they continue their necessary work. And again, if you have any information with regards to this defendant, please contact our law enforcement. I'm now going to turn the podium over to Coroner Jerry Overman.
Thank you,
Sorry we got to be here for a situation like this, but I'm glad everybody's here to help us with this investigation and continue on. I also like to offer my support to everybody involved with this, every agency, the Borough Police, the DA's office, Citizen Ambulance, our crisis team. These are very difficult times in many ways. This is even more difficult when you have a mother that's accused of harming her own child. That hits the community very hard. This community here is going to suffer that loss and that event that occurred. We still, are still open investigation. Autopsy results have not been back for us yet, so we're not going to release anything at this time. Again, I offer support. I'm glad you're here. I don't have a lot to give you because it's an active investigation. But as we move forward, if there's any more information, we will pass it forward to you. Again, I thank you for being here, and let's provide support to everybody that needs it.
So this concludes our portion of the press conference. If there are any questions directed at any of the three speakers, we would be happy to try and field those. I would say in advance that I am not, from the police department standpoint, going to be releasing any additional investigative information at this conference. There will be written press releases available in the room for you to take with you at your leisure. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to direct that to the correct source. Yes?
So, it's my understanding she waited a period of time before calling 911 from the criminal complaint. I don't know if anyone can speak to this, but if she would have made the immediate call, would that baby still be alive today? Are you able to speak on that at all?
That's not information that I am comfortable speaking on at this point in time. You are correct that there was a period of time that elapsed between when that occurred and the response from the police and EMS.
Did she show any remorse at all throughout, state interviews, anything like that?
That's not something that I feel comfortable commenting on. I will tell you that this is a tragedy. It's a criminal act and it's a tragedy at the same time. And I think that everyone who investigated this, everyone who was surrounded by this, every family member, regardless of affiliation, who is impacted by this is hurt. And that's where we'll leave that.
Do you believe that the father had nothing to do with victim knowledge?
We have great confidence that the only charges that will stem from this incident are the ones that were already filed. Every confidence. Well, we're not going to speak further to the investigation, but I will tell you that the investigation was thorough, both on scene and subsequent, and it was ongoing from January 6th till January 31st, and it will continue to be ongoing past today.
She has another son, I understand. Has there been anything in the past that you know about that son?
That's not information that I have at my disposal or that I would release.
Where is that child now with the father?
Again, that's not.
And I appreciate the question. Obviously, she's in jail. The whereabouts of a child, we're not going to be able to release for privacy's sake.
I appreciate that question. I genuinely do. And I will tell you that I am very pleased and proud at the services that we were able to arrange for everyone involved. And the well-being of police officers here in Indiana County is certainly something that we all think about. And District Attorney Manzi is an incredible partner in officer wellness. And so I'm confident that as we move forward, and as we began investigating this, that we have processes in place to deal with that. It was an incredible effort. We are fathers and mothers as police officers and as the criminal justice system, and so something like this cannot exist or occur without impact.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, your officers are involved with these sorts of death and tragedies regularly. When you're involving such a young child, is it different when your officers respond to something like this?
Well, I will tell you that I personally have not had experience responding first to a situation like this. I can only offer you that as a human being and a parent, how difficult that might be. Officers do difficult work every day. The coroner sees terrible things every day. The district attorney is helping all of us every day navigate through these terrible incidents. So, again, my heart goes out to everyone involved.
Through your investigation, you talked to other family members of the defendant. Did they indicate whether they were shocked that she allegedly did something like this, or did they mention that it was surprise?
Well, that's not a question that I feel comfortable answering. But I will tell you that we've certainly done our due diligence in contacting family members and everyone close to the situation. So I don't feel comfortable, though, answering any of those questions, and that's not meant to suggest that there's anything nefarious with my answer. I just am not that person. So, okay, well, thank you, everybody, for coming. And again, written press releases are in the room. Thank you.